Well, hey, Divi Nation, welcome to a brand new Divi Use Case live stream where each week we show you how to add new design and functionality to your Divi websites. And today I'm going to be showing you how you can create uh, icon font buttons with Divi. And to do this, I'll be using the elegant icon font and as a custom font within Divi's button module, which is going to be really cool and simple to do. And after showing you a few useful design tips for creating the buttons, I'm even going to show you how you can easily add these icon font buttons to any pre-made layout. So for more information on the video, on this use case, check out the video description for a link to the blog post that goes along with this use case. And also, if you don't have Divi yet, want to learn more about that, I've included a link to the product page as well. So let's go ahead and get started, everyone. I'm going to jump into my split screen here. All right, so let's make sure everybody can hear me okay. Am I coming in loud and clear? Please post any comments or questions that you have for this use case. Glad to see some people already jumping in. Hello, Gravity Web Solutions and Alex, welcome. All right. All right, so if my audio is coming in clear, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, making sure that that's okay, so I can proceed with confidence, knowing that you can hear me. Sometimes we have some issues there, but I'm excited to get started. This one should be very helpful for you guys. What you're seeing on my screen right here is just really a little sneak peek of what we're going to be going through today. It's a real simple concept using the elegant icon font, and I'll show you how to do that. The actual icon font is going to be used as a custom font within the button module, and we're going to build single icon buttons like this. And this specific one you can see is a perfectly circular. I'm going to show you how to do that. This one's a square. And also I'm going to show you a little trick to customize the margin a bit so that when you hover over it, you can switch out that icon for the hover icon on the button. So in addition to that, I'm going to show you how you can overlay these icon font buttons on an image like you see in this bed and breakfast landing page layout. And that's kind of a sneak peek of what we're going to be doing together. One thing you will need for this use case is the elegant icon font, and I've included a link in the video description to the blog post that you can get this icon font. And it's on this blog post here, the elegant icon font. And if you just scroll down, you'll see this green download the icons. And once that's downloaded, you're going to want to, unzip it. And one thing you're going to want to do, let me just open up that folder and go back a few here. So this is what the contents of the folder is going to look like over here on my right side of my monitor here. You're going to go to the HTML CSS folder there, go to the fonts folder, and then you want to find the TTF file, and it's going to be the one that looks like this. Do not use the EOT or the WOFF file. You want to use the TTF file, so look for that extension. That's the one you're going to use to drag in to your page, which we're going to do here in a second. So to get started, again, you'll need your Divi theme activated. We're going to be adding a new page, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to my dashboard here. And let's go ahead and add a new page. I see a lot of thumbs up, so that's great. Glad to know that everybody can hear me. All right, welcome everyone. Okay. All right, so I'm creating a new page. Let's call it icon font button. And I'm going to deploy the visual builder. And I'm going to actually just keep it simple. I'm going to build it from scratch. And let's just do a 3-column layout just to give us spots for our buttons here. And then I'm going to add a button module. So real simple. And I'm going to close it out for now. And I want to use the drag and drop feature here. I'm just going to grab that TTF file, the elegant icons.ttf file. I'm going to drag it in. And it's going to prompt me to upload my font. Really all this is just to confirm that I want all the supported font weights and stuff like that. But it's all ready to go. All I need to do is click upload. And as you can see, that already exists because I already did that. So now that I have my button module, I'm just going to open up my button module settings. And if I go to design and go to my button to use custom styles, all I need to do is scroll down to my button font there, and you'll see the elegant icon font is now listed as one of my custom fonts, and all I want to do is select it. All right, so now that it's selected, you'll see that the button is using the actual characters, text characters, as with their correlating icon fonts. So that's what this is over here. So just to go back to my content area, so if I erase this and let's just put a number 5. And the number 5 here is correlating to this right kind of chevron arrow there. And so that's the basic idea, real simple. Now we have a single icon font button using the button module. So this is the basic idea, but there are some other techniques or tips that I'm going to show you to kind of make this switch out the hover, the icon on hover. And I'm sure there are other hover effects that you can do as well by combining the hover icon. So hopefully it offers a little inspiration for these simple yet really useful icon buttons for your website. All right, so for this example, let's just go ahead and go to my design tab and let's increase my button text. Let's increase it to 30. All right, so you can see it a little better there. And now I want, for this specific example, I'm going to switch out that hover icon with a down arrow. So I'm going to go back to my content section and go back to my button settings and scroll down till I find the icon button, or excuse me, the button icon, and I'm going to find the downward chevron arrow there. All right, so that's the one I'm going to use for my icon font button. My icon on hover. Yes, sorry, tongue twister today. All right, so now that I have that set, I'm going to add a button color. My button icon color, I want it to match, so let's just set it to this one. And I want my icon font placement, my button icon placement to be left as opposed to the right. And the reason is it's because I'll show you in a little bit why that's important. It's just a way for me to access the margin of that later so that it can be in the right place on hover. So select that to the left, and then make my button hover text color. And this is what I want to do for this, is make it completely transparent. Because I'm going to be replacing the icon, I don't want the current icon to show, and since it is a icon font, it's considered text. So if I decrease it to be completely transparent, then I won't see it on hover, and I can just see the one I'm replacing. And then I want to go down here to my spacing. This actually, in a button module, the spacing elements, the padding, actually affects the spacing within the button. So I'm going to give it more of a, custom padding here. And when you're dealing with the button module uses this EM length unit by default. And this is actually really useful for scaling it according to font size. So, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. Actually, let's do that now. I'm going to show you a real quick way to, you know what? No, not yet. I'm going to do this a little later. Sorry. For now, let's concentrate on switching out this icon. So I have my padding set. Now the last step here, and here's the little trick, is to just go to the custom CSS, and this before element here is where this icon, this hover icon, is found in the code. So to reposition that, all I'm going to do is take out that left margin. Actually, I'm just going to set it to 0 with an important. And that's it. When I hover over it, there you go. It'll be in the right spot, and it's a nice little hover effect. I'm going to save that out. And if you want to check out that that code snippet, you can look in the blog post that goes along with this use case, and it's in the video description. So check that out. So that's basically how you would replace an icon on hover. And in general, one of the great things about this is that you have an icon that is centered within the button really easily, and that's what I like about it. All right, so now if I wanted to make a perfect circle icon or a perfectly square icon, button, I can do that. And since I have a single icon for my button, this makes a lot more sense. If I was using text, it would be less predictable, right? Because we're using different numbers of characters. So to get it exactly square or circle would be a little bit more difficult. But since we have only one icon, we can predict what needs to be, what the dimensions need to be to make it perfectly square or circular. So I'm going to copy this module, and I'm going to paste it in this one. And then I'm going to open up my settings. All right, so for this button, let me just deploy it over here. Let me get my screen full width now so you can see it a bit better. All right. So now, if I want to make this perfectly square, let's do that first. It all happens in this spacing area of my button. So let's go down here. Now to understand what these EM length units do, and there's actually, in the blog post, I go into detail about the mathematics of all this, if you want to call it that. But it's basically, you can predict what these values are going to be based on what you have set as your button text. So the EM length unit is directly related to the current text size or parent text size. So since my button text is set to, I'll show you here. Remember, we set it to, where is it? Yeah, here it is. So we set it to 30 pixels. So then in my spacing area, I know that 1 EM is based on 1 times whatever that text size is, which is 30. So this essentially is 30 pixels. 1 EM equals 30 pixels. 2 EM would be 60 because it would be 2 times whatever your current text size is. All right, so why is this important? Because I need to know, I want to make sure that the padding on the right and left and above and below are all going to add up to a dimension of 90 pixels wide and 90 pixels high. And the way I can do that is I know that my font in the middle is 30 pixels. And I know that the padding on the left is 30 pixels, which is 1M. And I know that the padding on the right is 30 pixels, which is 1M. And you add those 3 together for a total width of 90 pixels. Now, a little bit more difficult to figure out is the top and bottom padding, because this is based on line height. The current button line height or text line height is actually 1.7 EM. All right, I know I'm probably going to lose some of you, so I apologize. This is, please look at the blog post if you get confused. But all right, so the EM, for the line height EM is 1.7, which is basically 170% of 30 pixels, if that makes sense. So so then I need to make, up the rest of that with a top and bottom padding of 0.65 EM. Now, just trust me, this is correct. And you can look in the blog post for that. But the cool thing about this is if I set 1.6 EM for the top and bottom with a 1 EM on the left and right, this actually works with any button text size, and it will scale appropriately. And right now, this is going to be perfectly square. To show you what I mean, if I go back to my button text size and I just use this, you can see that it will scale up according to text size. That's one of the cool things about the EM length unit. It's based on the text size, so if all of it will scale appropriately. And you can be confident that this is going to be perfectly square as long as you have the spacing in there, it will work. So another way to look at it is if my button text size is 50 pixels or whatever my button text size is, it's going to be 3 times that. So I know that this entire square here is 150 by 150 pixels. So it's going to be 3 times the 50. All right, so there you go. If you're creating these icon font buttons and you want to make sure that they're square, just use this spacing that I have here and it will work wonderfully. Now, if I wanted to make it a circle button, excuse me, let's go ahead and go to my button styles, and I'm going to go down to there's an option for border radius. So here for my border radius, I'm going to add a 50%. And that is for my hover border radius, not my regular border radius. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to go to my button border radius, and I'm going to add 50%. And there you go. Magically, it becomes a perfect circle because of my spacing dimensions. All right. All right, I'm going to take a brief pause and look at the comments here. Let's see. All right, so I have a question from Philippe. How to translate old entries, I think post entries. I'm not sure what that. If you could clarify that for me, I'm not sure, but I would love to answer it if I can. Let's see. Let's see. We have a comment. It would be great to share a case with inline, one row, perfect vertically aligned contact form. All right, so okay, perfectly right aligned, vertically aligned contact form. Uh, Although it's not, specific to this use case, there actually is a way to center text. Let me think about that. I did a blog post on where I actually showed how to use the built-in effects of a flex to do that Divi uses to make all columns the same height. And if you just, I think, set the margin of your column to auto with that set, it will make all your modules centered. So if that made sense to you, hopefully that's helpful. Volodymyr, or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right, but hopefully that was helpful. All right. Let's see. Irfan says, I'm having some issues. The text turns into uppercase sometimes, and some modules aren't displayed in some devices when they're supposed to as designed. Please reply. Text turns into uppercase sometimes in some modules. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can answer that quickly here on the live stream here, but hopefully, if you haven't already, please reach out to support, or maybe someone can chime in here on the comments and help him out. All right, so I'm gonna jump back in. If you are just joining us, I do want to welcome you to this week's Divi Use Case live stream. Today, I'm actually showing you how to create icon font buttons with Divi, and I'm using the elegant icon font as a custom font within Divi's button module. If you need more information, please check out the video description below for a link to the blog post that goes along with this use case. And also, if you need to learn more about the Divi theme, you don't have it yet, there's a link to the product page as well. All right, let's get back to it. So I've showed you how to add a icon font button and how to make them perfectly circular and square. But you might be thinking, well, if I jump back in here, it's kind of hard to know, what icons are available if you are using these characters when clicking them on the keyboard. So for example, if I just, keep punching characters, I can figure it out that way. But in the blog post, I've actually, if I can just, at the end of the blog post that went out this morning on our blog page, I actually showed you or gave you a little, a key here that shows you what each character will display, what icon goes with each character here. And I've, used the alphabet to show you. So if you can see, if I go to the number 5 down here, you can see that correlates to that right arrow that I used. So this is a helpful key if you need it. And also, if you want to branch out from using the icon font with strictly with the button module, you can go to that the blog post where you actually got the elegant icon font download, and it will show you how to use that in other ways. All right. So let's go ahead and save that out. And now let's just go ahead and add it to a pre-made layout. So to do that, I'm going to open my load from library pop-up here. And I'm going to go and grab the bed and breakfast layout pack. Okay. I think I've been saving. Maybe I didn't publish my page. Yeah, let me do that first. Sorry about, oops. All right, let's try that again. All right, so now I can come down here and I want to find the bed and breakfast pre-made layout, which this is a completely free with your Elegant Theme subscription within the Divi Builder. All right, so there it is. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to choose the home page layout, and I'm going to click use this layout, and this should deploy it to my page. All right, and you can see these images here, these featured rooms. If I wanted to add a icon font button to this, to overlap this image or overlay the image in the right corner, I'm going to show you how to do that. First thing simply I'm going to do is, let's see. I'm going to add a button module directly under my image. So let's do that. All right, so there's my button module there. And I'm going to need to use the Elegant Icon font. Well, before I do that, I know what character I want to use, and it is a capital P. And if you look on the key there, you'll see what, well, we'll discover what that is here in a moment. But in order to get my styles for that button, I'm actually going to save that out. So I have my P ready, but I'm going to use this button styles over here. I'm going to right click on this button here. I'm going to copy the, actually I'm going to go into the button settings, and then I'm going to copy button styles. All right, so I don't want to copy the whole entire module settings with all the spacing and stuff, but I do want the actual button styles. So to do that, I just right click on that, the button section there, and then copy button styles. And then I want to come down here to my button module, and I want to right click and paste those button styles. And there you go. So now I have a button that matches the layout nicely. But I do want to touch it up a bit. Obviously, I need to add my Elegant Icon font. So I'm going to open my custom styles for button here. And I want to make sure I come down here and choose my button font to be the Elegant Icons there. You can see that now it's changed to that icon that I want. I'm going to take out my border width. There it is. I'm going to set that to 0. It's a little too big. Shrink that up a little bit. There you go. And I don't want to show my excuse me, my button icon. So I'm going to select that to no. All right. One more thing. Let me jump back in. I forgot. Let's go down to the spacing for my button. And I want to, again, make it a perfect square. So to do that, I'm just going to plug in my 0.65 EM. And I'm going to lock it so it goes to the top and bottom. And 1 EM for my right and left. All right. Looks good. And let's go ahead and take out my, I think I have a margin here. So I'm trying to get rid of this margin between my button, top of my button and this image here. So to do that, I'm pretty sure it's only in the image that I need to take out that margin. But just make sure, yeah, it's not here. Okay, so now I want to go to my image here. I'm pretty much done with my button at the moment. I will need to add some margin here in a moment to bring it up to my image. But I do want to go here to my design and my spacing. I want to take out this bottom margin. There you go. So now I don't have that margin between my image and my button. All right, so now I can go back to my button module, and I'm going to go and add a top margin of negative 60 pixels. Now what's cool about this is we know that the button is actually perfect. We know the size of the button because if you remember, whatever we set our button text size to, we can predict the overall size of the button. This is a 20 pixel, the text is 20 pixels. So that icon is 20 pixels, which means if you multiply it by 3, this is a 60 by 60 button. That's why I only need to bring it up 60 pixels. That way it'll perfectly get positioned to overlap on the very bottom of the image. And right now it's left aligned. If I wanted to make the button right aligned, I just go to my button alignment there and change it to the right. Put it in the middle if I wanted. Nice and easy. All right. I'm going to save that out. And we have a complete design here. So the next thing I would need to do is add this button to each one of these images. Now, I do want to make sure, and I did make a change to this image. I did take the margin out, so I want to do the same for all of these images. So I'm just going to extend the image styles to all of this whole section. So when I do that, as you can see, now that margin has been taken out. So now I can just copy and paste that button right under the image. It's going to be placed in the right spot. And there you go. That's how you would add a icon font button to overlay or overlap an image on your custom or pre-made layout. All right, so let's go and dive into some questions here, making sure I'm not missing anything. All right. I'm not seeing any new questions, so again, if you need more information, check out the blog post, and also continue to ask questions. Maybe we can get to them a little later if I can. All right, so hopefully this will be a useful addition to your workflow in case you need some of these icon fonts. Of course, it has a whole lot of uses throughout your website. And so if there's no more questions, I guess I'll close it out here. All right, that's all I got for you today for this week. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and be sure to subscribe to our blog newsletter, our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook. That way you don't miss out on any future live streams or free layout packs or anything like that we'll be throwing your way. And our next live stream, which is the weekly WP Roundup, which will be this Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, so you'll want to check that out. And we'll be back here next week, next Tuesday, with another Divi Use Case live stream. So we're looking forward to that as well. If you want to share your knowledge, expertise, and with us, with the Elegant Themes community, you can do that on our blog. Check out the video description for more information on how you can contribute your own unique content on our blog. So thanks again, and see you guys soon.